and they all have to relate to each other. That's why they're all together there. But yeah, hopefully that pyramid kind of helps to visualize it all and understand how much you should expect to include of everything. If you get any questions and throughout the session, ask me, put them in the Q&A chat as soon as you think of anything, so you can get your answers to your questions right away. And we're going to move into discussing views and values because we brought up this idea of views and values, guys. So first of all, we have something that's called authorial intent, views and values that you're hopefully familiar with using. But this is to do with asking questions relating to what the author is trying to do. So, for example, we may consider the author's life and times, what was dominant or powerful at the time, what were the social pressures or the circumstances in that time period, and particularly in the society um, that the text was written in. Where might their views and values come from? Think about their background, think about the context. Societal commentary. Uh, what is the author condoning, critiquing, condemning, or celebrating or endorsing about that society in which they live? What does the author think, feel, or believe? And what do they suggest about something, anything important, right? Anything relevant. And we should also consider what does the author value and what do they think is important. So all of these questions are questions that can prompt us to come up with authorial intent, views and value statements. So if you didn't understand what authorial intent, views and values are, they relate to the author specifically and what they're trying to do. And oftentimes, a really good one to think about is this concept of a societal commentary. What do they like and dislike about that society? What are they critiquing or praising? That's a really good one to think about and a really common one you may find, really good one to write about. So they're based on the context of the author. Remember that, guys? And we also have what's called audience reception views and values. And these are the views and values that are based on the context of the audience rather than the author. So it can be us as the audience, but it could be, we may also consider what about the audience of the time when the text was published? What would they have potentially thought about the text? We can make about some points about this as well if relevant. But in terms of questions we may consider, think about what do we base our judgments on, and how might those audience views and values change over time? So, say for adaptations and transformations, the two texts, the original and the adaptation, are likely to have been created many, many years apart. So audience reception views and values may significantly differ, and this is something we can address and talk about in our essay. Similarly, with us as a modern audience versus what might have been the audience's reception when the original was published. How might responses differ depending on preconceptions or societal norms? Really good viewpoint to consider. A lot of texts in literature as well might be very progressive. And for that reason, they may have not been accepted that well by their audiences. There might have been a lot of critique, it might have been censored. However, for that reason, we can say that they are progressive because they defy those ideas of preconceptions or societal norms. We may also consider how might readers respond to the text, what they're inclined to think, feel, or believe, and what does society value then within that time period versus now. We can rope in our ideas of modern values and what is considered acceptable into our analysis. And what are or were the societal norms and expectations of the time? In bold, as you can tell, those questions are very important. These are questions you will often find yourself asking for a text and trying to discuss.